Welcome back to Watchbox Studios and Watches Tonight. I am your host, Tim Masso.
Hi again from Watchbox Hong Kong. My name is Zoe Abelson.
And I'm Josh Rolovitz.
Hello, and welcome back to the Trading Desk. I'm Jason Main, but you guys know who I am.
The decades awaited, and this was a shock, Zenith El Primero 2 quietly emerged out of nowhere during SIHH. Now, Zenith had a little enclave inside, I believe it was the Kempinski Hotel. So they were represented at SIHH as a sort of pirate satellite operation. LVMH always makes themselves felt outside of Richemont's playground. But here's the thing. The El Primero 2 caliber that we've waited 50 years to see bowed as a press release that received almost no attention during SIHH. I had this one called for the year, but not for SIHH. So what is it? Well, it is the El Primero 50 Years of El Primero Trilogy set. You get 3 new watches in 3 styles. Vintage, a re-edition of the original A386 from 1969, scanned with a laser from the Factory Museum, 38 millimeters in steel. You get a contemporary watch, 42 millimeters with ceramic bezel and steel case. And you get a futuristic watch, 44 millimeters in grade 5 tie. That is a trilogy edition, 50-piece El Primero Day 521. But here's the thing. The contemporary model, dubbed Chronomaster 2.0, is easily the most interesting because it is the vessel for the hitherto unannounced El Primero 3600 caliber. What's that? It's the El Primero 2. Now you're getting 50 sets only, 50,000 US dollars, and it comes with a luxurious box outfitted like a watchmaker's bench with a hardwood surface, a magnifier, battery-powered lighting, strap tools, a special drawer, and extra spring bars. Now, all of that is cool, but it's the 3600 that piques my interest. Why? Because this is a new El Primero that comes standard with the striking 10th Foudroyant, a new 60-hour instead of 50-hour power reserve, hacking seconds, something the El Primero has never had, and a COSC chronometer certification, which I'm hoping is now going to be standard across the range in the future. This is the new one. This is the one we've waited for, and if you blink, you'll miss it. Zenith, you really need to announce these things. It's kind of a big deal. All right. I'll also mention that there's a little bit of a hint that if you buy this trilogy kit, you can be treated like a VIP at the Zenith manufacturer and get to sign an original tooling die from the old El Primero, which will go up on the Wall of Fame outside of watchmaker Charles Vermeaux's famous attic loft, wherein the original El Primero tooling dies were hidden. So that's a wonderful perk, but intriguingly, the set comes with a 4th empty slot that Zenith expressly states is being saved for a 1/1000th of a second chronograph. That is probably what we're going to see at Basel.
And the next piece that I have picked that we have in our Hong Kong office and I'm super excited about is this Royal Oak extra thin tourbillon. It's 41 millimeters, stainless steel, classic blue dial, kind of just the quintessential AP, but bigger.
I think it's
and
kind of a
with
sleeper night.
a
If someone's not
tourbillon.
paying attention, they won't notice what it is.
Right.
Those who know will instantly recognize it's not your standard Royal Oak. It's just makes super cool because of that.
Yeah, and we can kind of talk about the new one that just came out at SIHH in ceramic, which is the same case size. The dial is actually the newer pattern, so it looks like from the tourbillon and the new dial, it's radiating out to the outside of the bezel, which is really cool. I think I actually prefer the perpetual that came out in the ceramic perpetual that came out in 2017. I was super excited about that piece. The tourbillon will be great, but I think just the dial layout of the perpetual calendar is a little bit more special. And then I would prefer this blue dial stainless steel version for the tourbillon. I still think that it should be made in a 39 millimeter. Kind of the jumbo tourbillon would be pretty awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that moving forward because they just reduced the 38 millimeter chrono.
Right.
And before they had the 39 millimeter, which was the perfect size. I think many people would agree. So they're starting to downsize their collections a little bit, which should be nice. To see if 39 millimeter tourbillon would be, I mean, awesome, exceptional.
Yeah, that would be great. The 38 millimeter chronograph is something that I'm personally super excited about because I always think for me, the jumbos too big for my wrist. It just doesn't fit around my wrist with the edges. But 37 just looks a little bit too small on my wrist, and 38 would be amazing. And
It's
then
ideal,
the chronograph,
sweet spot size.
yeah, it is the sweet spot. It's unisex, totally wearable for ladies, which is really exciting that AP is kind of taking that into consideration for their newer lines. And I think the gray dial with the silver subdials is just so stunning. So
It's a winner.
yeah, definitely a winner.
So yeah, that's definitely the dressiest watch on the table. We've talked about the Schumacher, which is a cool watch. The Glashute, which I saw earlier, was on a strap before we switched to the bracelet.
Yep, this was
so it's freshly back on that bracelet.
yeah, this is my second watch. So I've had that one for almost 14 years too. That one, but you're right, it goes back and forth on the strap and the bracelet.
Yeah.
Like, every 6 months I just rotate it back and forth.
That's a cool piece too. And why don't you tell
bracelet's
us
cool on
about the Patek?
And then the Patek here. So this is the last piece I bought, and this was I've had it for about 9 months now.
Measurably a step up from the other
Gorgeous.
stuff on the table.
Yeah. So I bought this from you guys here. I bought it
Yeah.
from Josh, and I did have to let go of a couple pieces to help fund this. So I let go of a Chronomet Blue and a Kermit
You didn't tell
to
me that earlier.
partially fund this.
The Journe.
So it was a bittersweet,
Yeah.
but I do love the watch, and it's my first foray into, I guess, high horology, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, sure.
Gorgeous.
And I do have to say that I debated on what brand to go with in that first watch, and going with the Patek is a little safe when you're going with something expensive, because
Sure.
I can feel safe that if I'm going to sell this, I can get my money back, and I'm not going to take a bath.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely more mainstream than maybe some of the other picks could have been. You know, I would say getting the CB. I would assume. I mean, you did okay on that. CB's hot.
I broke even, but I didn't.
All right, so it wasn't as risky as buying something like this because it was a watch that was pretty hyped at the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a little more nerve-wracking getting the Patek.
Yeah.
Especially getting rid of the Kermit as well, which could prove they could be maxed out. They could be 10 grand away from maxed out. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But-
I'm sure if I would have held on to them, they would have both made some more money. But
then, so here's the thing. You would have held on to those two watches, and then now you would have been looking at another Speedmaster, instead of consolidating, stepping up. The one thing I can tell you is, how many pieces are we at now? Is this everything?
basically,
More
this
or
is
less.
everything. Yeah.
All right. So I could put 5 or 6 watches on the table and then have, a Luminox, a Sunto, stuff that stays in a drawer, Seikos, right? That wouldn't be something I put on the table. I'm sure you have those watches too, like we all usually do. You have a Luminox
Yep.
on your desk that's like
It's my
that's your desk clock now.
Yeah.
But to be able to put something like this up and say, this is what I've curated, this is what I like right now. And, it might change a little bit. It'll probably change next year. We were talking about you picking up something else.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, you can look at his collection and see a style aesthetic, right? I would say besides the Parmigiani, the rest of the watches fit in that collection. And that's really cool to see because I know what that curating that collection for myself feels like. And I think you're like just starting to get there. And
Mine's all in my mind at this point.
You're actually at a unique
Yeah.
perspective because you're just starting, but you're also behind the curtain.
Right.
So you're like putting your collection together in your head
Yeah.
right now. So that'll be cool to see how that forms up.